Hi everyone. All right, we are back for the second part. Now that you've had a little bit of time to play with some of the different tools in the toolbox, the different brushes, change their size, play a little bit with their opacity, and to also get used to creating different layers and being able to rearrange those layers, we are going to look at filters. So I'm back to that original piece that we started in the last video. And again, because I have different layers, I'm able to create interesting effects with what's called a filter just on specific layers. So filters are ways to bring in some different creative processes or the look of different creative processes. It's also an interesting way to blend the different layers together to create some interesting visual effects. So if I look at my filters, there's a whole bunch of them here. We've got blur. There's several different ways to blur out your image. We have different ways to enhance your image, different ways to distort them, different ways to use light and shadows. Noise does some interesting texture. Edge detect actually goes in and hardens out some of the edges. Generic, I have not used generic, so you could play around with it and see what happens. You can combine it, you can create some different merging with depth. Artistic is one of the, I think, the more fun ones to play with. Here's where you can bring some artistic flair to the visual design. So you could play with lots of different types of artistic visual elements. And so on and so forth. You can keep going through all of these and playing with them. So for your first assignment, you actually will be playing with filters. You'll be playing with filters with your actual digital photos. Right now I don't have a digital photo, I just have a bunch of layers of marks. So know that yours will look a little bit different because you'll be playing with photos. So let's look at artistic. I am on currently my layer called 01. And let's see what happens when we put the filter cubism into that. Here you get a little pop-up window. You can kind of pull it and move it around to see what that filter does to the different parts of that layer. You'll see it's only affecting the layer 01. It's not affecting any of the other layers. You can also play with how the distortion changes. You can increase the size of the tile distortion or size. You can increase the saturation of how they blend together. And then once you find, if you like this effect, once you find a good combination with the size and the saturation, you click OK, and GIMP will apply that filter to that whole layer. Again, remember it's only affecting that layer that I'm clicked on, which is really nice. So I could click that eye icon off just to turn off that layer for a second, and you'll see that it didn't affect the other three layers. It didn't affect the background, and it didn't affect layer 2 or layer 3. So let's click on a different layer. Let's see. Let's go to layer 3, which was that kind of scribbly yellow. Let's try a different filter with that. How about we try enhance? Let's enhance it with the speckle. That might be a little bit harder one. How about we use a distort instead? Let's try embossing that line. So you'll see here again that same pop-up. It'll show you how it's going to change that embossing. You can again play with the different parts that they have here with depth and find whatever is interesting to you. If you decide you don't even like the emboss, you can cancel it, but if you do like it, click OK, and let's see what it does to that layer. There you go. So now that's that yellow layer. That's no longer yellow because it just has that weird embossed line instead. let's go to layer 2, which is that orange kind of loopy circle. Let's see what happens here. Let's go to another filter. How about, let's see. We could try the edge detect. How about neon? Let's see what happens with neon. And we have to move it over so we can see. It's kind of bizarre. I don't know that I like it that much. I'm going to cancel that out. Let's see, let's go to another filter. How about, let's see what this erode does. Oh, it didn't give you a pop-up. Some of the filters don't. It just did it. Now here's a great example of how you can use that layers palette again. If you don't like what it just did, you can click on that, open the undo history dialog, and you can actually click back to one step before where you were at, and it takes you back to where you were. Then just click back on the white stack of papers to see all your layers. So for the filters assignment, you're going to bring in an image.